Hey everybody, Darren with the White Hatter, and welcome to this YouTube event, and the topic is sextortion. Let's get after it, shall we? So a little bit about who we are and what we do as a company before we get going. So this is Beth and I. Beth likes to say we've been married a long time. We have been just over 33 years. This is Brandon. Brandon is the CEO of the company, and Brandon has his master's degree in the area of social media and communications. He's got his undergraduate degree in sociology with a minor in technology. And Brandon is responsible for creating the virtual studio. Like, this is 1,200 square feet. This is set one. We got set two. It is unbelievable. And Brandon also provides training to all our elementary and many of our adult learning programs. Now, as a company, we are based in Victoria, British Columbia, so we're Canadian, eh? And as a result of that, I think it's important for us to acknowledge the fact that we here at the White Hatter, we work, live, and play on the traditional territories of the Coast Salish, specifically the Esquimalt Songhe, the Chanawa, and the Wasinash people. Important that we recognize that fact. Now, as a company, we've been around now for just over 29 years, and we are currently comprised of retired law enforcement. We have a number of academics that work with us. Good example, Brandon's got his master's. We got another person, Julia, who works with us. She's working on her PhD, her doctorate on the issues of privacy as it relates to teens and the use of technology in classrooms across Canada. We consult with psychologists and psychiatrists, lawyers, and other IT professionals in everything that we do. So we are very much an evidence-based company. We believe let's enlighten and not frighten through facts, not fear, as you're going to see in today's presentation. We're also made up of what are known as white hat hackers or ethical hackers, so we hack for good. And we're pretty unique as a company. Not only do we teach social media safety and digital literacy, but we are also licensed to conduct online investigations both in the light and dark web. And we are also made up of people who absolutely love social media, as you're going to see. Now, to date, we have presented to just over 560,000 teens from across Canada and the United States, something we're very proud of. And as a result of that, we've now been involved in 212 interventions where a teen found themselves online in a very bad situation. We're now considering self-harm or suicide as an option. They didn't know what to do, so they reached out to us for help. And in every one of those situations, we were able to help those teens. As a result of the work that we do, we've now earned 8 different recognitions and awards, internationally, nationally, provincially, and even locally. Again, something that we're extremely proud of. A little bit more about my background is I come from a law enforcement background. So I was with the Victoria Police Department for just over 30 years. And a couple of years ago, I finally did this. I finally retired. And I retired at the rank of a staff sergeant, also known as a watch commander. And in the last couple of years in our department, I specialized in the area of conducting online investigations, both in the light and dark web. In fact, I have 7 different certifications in that area. The topic of today's YouTube event is on the topic of sextortion and understanding what it is. But before we do that, I think it's important that we define what it is. So here's our definition. Sextortion is a form of sexual exploitation and is a crime in which someone threatens, blackmails their target to reveal sexually explicit photographs, video, or other intimately sensitive sexual information about a person unless that person performs certain actions, like providing further intimate pictures or videos, or provides the extortionist with something of value, such as money or gift cards. So that's what it is. This has become a clear and present threat, both in Canada and the United States, in fact, around the world. In fact, here in Canada, our National Police Force, which is known as the RCMP, as well as in the United States, the FBI, have put out warnings, national warnings, about the threat of this ongoing clear and present crime that we all need to be aware of. And this is a big deal. So let me put some perspective to you. So we here at the White Hatter, since January of 2020, we've now been involved in 129 incidences. This is outside of the 212 that I mentioned a little earlier, but we've been involved in 129 incidences where teens and their families connected with us as a result of this crime. In every case, all but 5. So 124 of the teens identified as male, the other 5 identified as female. All of them were under the age of 18, and the youngest was 13 years of age. Cybertips.ca, which is kind of a national clearinghouse for online reporting of these incidents here in Canada, they saw a 63% increase in these types of reports to them in 2021. And just recently, the FBI released a document where they said that last year there were over 7,000 cases reported to police departments in the United States. Now, those are reported cases. This is definitely an underreported crime. And what we have found personally here at the White Hatter, as well as what is being experienced across our country in the United States, is that when it's a teen boy who's targeted, a lot of times the extortionist is looking for money. But if it's a teen girl, in many of the cases, in all 5 cases that we've dealt with, they didn't want money. They wanted more pictures or videos from the teen girl that they were targeting. And in all 129 cases that we've helped teens and their families, this extortion took place in less than 30 minutes. From the time that the sextortionist, or what we like to call the capper, targeted the teen online to the point where they were able to record something that they used for the purpose of sextortion took less than 30 minutes. We've identified 2 specific categories when it comes to sextortion. And the first category is being created by somebody who you either know, love, or trust. So in these types of cases, usually it's a relationship that was intimate, where they were consensually sharing intimate images or videos amongst one another. And now one of the partners is deciding to leave the relationship or has left the relationship. And as a result of that, the ex-partner takes the nude that was sent consensually in a relationship, they weaponize it, and they post it publicly as a weapon. So that's the first category. But the second category that we're really going to talk about in today's presentation is taking place with a person who you just met online, or somebody that is commonly known as a capper. And capper is short for capturing. Their whole goal here is to get a young person or even an adult to do something sexually inappropriate in front of their webcam, where they're now able to record it covertly and then use it for the purpose of sextortion. Now, what's interesting about these cappers is who they are. And what we have found is that these cappers have very little sexual motivation behind what it is that they're doing. And they're extremely Machiavellian nature. And what do I mean by that? Their goal here is to upset the target as best as they can, because they know that the more upset they can make their target, the higher the stress level, which means the more likely it is that their target is going to pay that ransom or provide them with further videos or pictures of themselves. And in their world, they actually call it e-whoring. Not a very politically correct name, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. The question now is because we now know, like in our case, of the 129 teens and families that we've helped, 124 have identified as male. And we are seeing this right across our country, in the United States, around the world, where it's teen boys who are primarily targeted. And here are the reasons why. Number 1, teen boys are more likely to engage in sexually revealing intimate self-exposure with others online who they don't know, love, or trust when compared to teen girls. 2, they're far less likely to report to parents or law enforcement because of the stigma of shame surrounding this type of crime, right? They don't want to come forward to let their parents know or the police know because, again, of the embarrassment or the fear that if they do let somebody know, that the parent or guardian is also going to take their phone away from them as a form of punishment. 3, beliefs that sexual exploitation only happens to girls and is not a guy issue. Like, you know, we're doing a better job about talking about sexual exploitation online, but a lot of it surrounds those who identify as teenage girls rather than teenage boys. And it's important that the boys understand that this is just as important to them as it is to teenage girls. And a lot of teen boys believe that this will never happen to me because I'm smarter than those who want to target me online. Like, we'll hear them say consistently, well, I'll know if it's a cap or if it's somebody who's not who they are trying to catfish me online. When we do our research, of the 129 cases that we've been involved in, yeah, you know what? Some of the cases, some of the individuals, the cappers who commit these crimes, yeah, they are from Canada and the United States. But by far, of all the 129 cases that we've been involved in, the majority of them came from either Russia, Southeast Asia, primarily India or the Philippines. They came from Somalia, Nigeria, or the Ivory Coast of Africa. And the reasons they are in those countries is that these are organized crime groups. And the reason they're in those countries is because they know that law enforcement from North America can't often touch them. Now, I can share with you that law enforcement, both in Canada and the United States, have been working more closely with officials in places like the Ivory Coast to go after some of these individuals. But in most cases, these organized crime groups operate in countries where they know that law enforcement isn't going to touch them. And this is big, big business. You know, one of the things that we do as online investigators here at the White Hatters, we have a number of pieces of hardware and software that we use to conduct investigations. And one of the pieces of software that we do use, it allows us to kind of have a look and see what's going on in the dark and deep web. So, you know, recently we were down there, and one of the things that we like to do is we like to kind of creep social network and talk sites where these individuals get together to talk about these crimes. Here are some interesting communications that we identified down on the dark web, where individuals are calling this e-whoring and offering e-whoring packs. Like, these are basically how-to guides on how to commit this crime, instructions on how to do it, pictures and videos that they can use as a part of the pretext in order to target teens. And these are being sold for big bucks online. So this is a big industry, not just with the sale of how-to manuals, but also committing these types of crimes. And in fact, with the We Protect Global Alliance, which is a huge organization that looks at child sexual abuse material online, here's what they found. They found that in some cases, capping has become competitive in nature, with content producers vying to share the most voluminous or extreme capping videos, right? It almost becomes like a competition. When it comes to sextortion and how it's committed online, I think it's important that we all understand of what we like to call the anatomy of a sextortion. If a capper wants to target a teen, well, then what better way to do that than to target sites that are popular with teens? And there's no doubt that the three big ones right now that are being used to commit these crimes include Instagram, or what the kids call IG, Snapchat, and of course, TikTok. But not only is it apps and social media platforms that they're looking at, but they're also going after live streaming platforms like Omegle, Emerald Chat, and Bigo, something that we'll talk about a little bit later in the presentation. So what these individuals will do is they will creep these social networks covertly, looking for potential targets. And once they've identified a target, they will then send them a message via what they call a sock puppet account. And here's one that we found, that we worked on a case where a teen was being targeted by a capper online that we were able to track to Nigeria. So this is what is a fake account, or what they call a sock puppet account. And one of the things that we've noticed quite clearly, one of the tells to let teens and adults know that the individual that you're about to communicate with is likely going to be a capper who wants to sextort you, is that you will see that they will have a large number of followers. They'll have a large number of following posts and followers, but you'll see that they have very few posts that they've actually posted on their IG site. In fact, we have noted that the majority of them have under 10, in fact, under 5 posts, if any. So if the teen comes across somebody who's connected with them, and before they talk to them, they're doing a little bit of research on them, and they see that the individuals connected has a large number of following and followers, but very few posts. Danger, danger, danger. This is probably a sock puppet account that is being used for the purpose of sextortion. And these guys are getting pretty good about using technology to make their social networks, their sock puppet accounts, look extremely real. There is now artificial intelligence technology out there now that can create a picture of any person of any gender or any age that they can post online, right? They can self-generate it. And there's also now software that allows them to change their voice. So although they're a 45-year-old male, they can make themselves sound like a 16-year-old female or even male. Sometimes even people who you're talking to live online may not be who they say they are. So to kind of give you an example of how good this technology is, check this out. This is a picture of my favorite comedic group. These are the Three Stooges, right? And so using some software, artificial software that we have to morph, right? It's called morphing. Watch how I morph my face into this picture. So here's the original. Here's the morph picture. That's me in the middle. So again, this is the original. That's the morph picture. So unless you had forensic software like we have to look at these pictures, you would never ever know that the person standing there, or that person there, that picture is a morph picture. But they can also do it with video. So here's a good example. Here's a program that we used. Now, this is a little rough. You'll be able to see that this was a morph picture or a morph video. Now, trust me, there's some good stuff out there. And for those of you who don't believe me, check out Tom Cruise deep fakes on YouTube and you'll see what I mean. But here's a video from Home Alone, and watch how I morph my face into Buzz's face in the video. So check this out.
Did anyone order me plain cheese?
Well, yeah, we did. If you want any,
somebody's
gonna have to barf it all
That's
up.
me.
Because it's gone.
So notice how I morphed my face in that video. Now, again, you could see that was morphed, right? But trust me, there's some really good stuff out there that shows you that you're not necessarily, that you would never ever know. Now, to put this into perspective, so that's a recorded video. But there's some new artificial intelligence out there now that allows you to morph yourself during live chat. How old would you say this person is? So a lot of you would say 15, 16, maybe 14 years old. You'd all be wrong. It was an adult male. Here's another great example. How old would you say this person is right here? A lot of you will say 13, 14, 15, 16. Some will say younger, some will say older. You'd all be wrong. They are actually an adult female in her 40s who looks like that. They were actually using live morphing technology that allows them to change their look. So when you combine this with the programs that change your voice, although you think you're talking to a 16-year-old hottie from California, it could be a 45-year-old male from Somalia who's pretending to be a 16-year-old girl, hoping that you're going to do something in front of your video screen that they're now going to record and use against you in the form of sextortion. Thankfully, Stanford University just came out with a report where they have now showed us that there are ways that if you're communicating with somebody live, so if you're doing a live video chat, one of the ways to tell that maybe that they're using morphing technology, and again, this is current research, but as this AI technology gets better at what it does, who knows if this tactic will still be available to us to use to help us make a decision if this is real or if it's a morphed deep fake technology that they're using in a live chat. But for now, if you're chatting with somebody live, so you've met somebody online, they say, hey, let's move over to a chat app, and we'll talk more about that, a video chatting app a little bit later, and let's chat. Before you start your chat with them, one of the things that they recommend is that you have the individual turn their head at least 90 degrees and to wave their hands in front of their face. Why? Because the technology to date, if during live, now this is not recorded, but during live chat, if they turn their head to the side, you'll see a blurring of the face. And if they wave their hand in front of their face, you'll see a distortion of the hands. And those are really good indicators to let you know that the person you're chatting to live is probably using some form of morphing technology. Now, if the person doesn't want to turn their head 90 degrees and they don't want to wave their hand in front of their face, danger, danger, danger. That's not somebody that I would recommend that you're going to start to be chatting to. But not only are they using technology to do that, they're using live humans to do that, or what we like to call human bait. So here's a good example. So here's a message that we found down in the dark web, deep web, one of the forums, where an individual said that he actually hired a 20-year-old female that he was located online that would go in front of the camera to be the actress, to be the bait, to get somebody to bite, to move into for the purpose of sextortion. And the reason that happens is a lot of teens are pretty smart. Like, they have learned over the years that one of the things that these cappers are doing is they're using looping recorded video. So one of the ways to make sure that the individual they're talking to is a real person, not a video, is the teens would ask the individual, tap your head, give me a thumbs up and an okay sign is a really good example. And if the person they're talking to can't do that, it was a pretty good indicator to them to let them know that they were actually interacting with a video and not a real live person. So a countermeasure to that now is cappers are using young individuals. We actually believe that they're being human trafficked and being put in front of these cameras against their will, but sometimes they're doing it purposely. In fact, here's a message that we had from a 17-year-old teen that we helped just recently, and here's what he said. I took all the precaution to ensure it wasn't recording, but I was still fooled because it was a real live person who is my age. And in fact, we've helped several teens now who found themselves in the same position where they tried all the indicators, say, hey, put your thumb up, tap your head, do other things. And the person did that. So they believed that the person was real and live, which they were. But what they didn't understand was that they were actually the bait, the actor or the actress, trying to get to convince them to start doing things in front of their cameras that they shouldn't be doing, that they're going to record to use to their advantage. Now, not only are they doing that on Instagram, on Snapchat, on TikTok, but they're also doing it on live streaming platforms. And some of the live streaming platforms I want to bring to your attention that are very popular right now include Omegle, Chat Roulette, YouNow, MyLaw, Yubu, Seven Strangers, Cake, Omi, Emerald, The Monkey, Bigo. Now, when I ask teens, how many of you know these sites? All their hands go up. When I ask adults, how many of you know these sites? Hardly any of your hands go up. And that shouldn't surprise us. And why are teens going to these live virtual streaming sites? Because they're bored and they want to go there for laughs and giggles. So let's talk about these sites for a second. Now, when these live streaming sites were first created many years ago, like Omegle, which became very popular again last year because of TikTok, and more recently, Monkey and Bigo, they were basically designed to be open chat rooms. The whole idea is you can go into these sites and talk to people from around the world anonymously, or at least that's what you think. And there's two ways you can do it. You can either do it via a chat or via live streaming. So a really good example, Omegle. I can go into Omegle and I can text hi, and within a split second, somebody else from around the world will reply hi back, usually followed by ASL, which stands for age, sex, location. Or the second way you can communicate is by using your camera and streaming live with one another, where boop, his face pops up, boop, your face pops up, and you have this face-to-face conversation with one another. Now, when you think about it, it's a really cool way, it really is, to interact with other young people from around the world your own age who have the same interests as you. But you know what? I was a police officer for over 30 years. I've now been an online investigator for the past 10 years. And some of the things I've seen some teens doing on some of these sites right now, OMG. Oh my God. I see teen boys fapping in front of their webcams. And a lot of teens will laugh at that. A lot of parents go, what's fapping? Fapping is in a term for sexually doing inappropriate things in front of their webcams. Like I see teen boys fapping. I see 80-year-old men fapping in front of their webcams. It's like, are you guys kidding me? Now, teens understand that they're at risk when they do those types of things when they're streaming live. So one of the things, the tactics that they'll use is they'll try to hide their identities. And one of the ways they'll do that is by moving their webcam so you can't see their face. But here's what they don't know. There are programs out there, they're called RATs, which stands for Remote Access Trojan. What these RATs allow an individual to do is once they put it into your computer, they can now take full control of your webcam. Not only can they turn it on or off, but they can also take the lens and blow it up covertly. So now they can see your full face, your full body, everything behind you. They now screen capture that and they use it for the purpose of sextortion. Or the second way teens will try to hide their identities is they'll wear masks. And one of the most popular masks being worn in these sites right now is the unicorn mask. And yes, that's me. Second most popular mask, the Boba Fett mask off the new Star Wars series, right? The third way teens are trying to hide their identities is they'll take their hoodies, throw them up over their faces, and they pull them so tight that all you can see are the little itty bitty eyes, and they look like Kenny off of South Park. And when I share that with teens, you get a lot of teens laughing at this. Not so funny, because here's one of the things that a lot of you don't know. There are programs out there. We have one. There's several others on the market that are free. That as soon as these individuals connect with you in any of these sites or any other of the more popular sites, with a push of a button, they can identify your IP address. Now, what's your IP address? Your IP address is the address of where your computer is located in the world. It may not tell us that you live at 123 Sesame Street, but what it does do is it tells us you live in Vancouver, British Columbia, you live in Phoenix, Arizona, right? You live in Paris. So it narrows you down to a geographic location. With a push of a button, they can also covertly record everything you're saying and doing in front of your camera without you knowing you're doing it. Let's say you're a teen wearing a mask, fapping or doing something sexually in front of your webcam that you shouldn't be doing. These individuals have now captured your IP, so they now know where they live, and they've now screen captured everything you've done online without you knowing. You sign off. These guys will now immediately reconnect with you, and they'll send you a message, and here's the message they'll usually send. Hey, how you doing? My name is Darren7235, and the reason I'm connecting with you is I'm the person you were talking to Omegle or Bigo last night. Oh, by the way, I now know that you live in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Oh, I actually figured out that you go to Oak Bay High School. Here's a link to their Facebook page. Oh, I actually figured out what your Instagram page is, your Snapchat page, your TikTok page, your Discord page. Here's the links to those. Oh, I actually recorded everything you were doing. Here's a recording of it. Oh, you don't do exactly what it is I want you to do for me now in front of your webcam, or if you don't send me $500 or send me gift tune cards to the iTunes store, I'm now going to take this picture or video, I'm going to post on all your social media sites, and then I'm going to lock you out so you can't do anything about it, so that your friends, family, parents, and teachers can see what it is you're doing. It's what we call extortion, or what we like to call sextortion, and that is exactly what happened to over 29 young people here in Greater Victoria, where a 19-year-old male was arrested because he used that exact same process on those 19 young people. He was arrested, charged, and convicted and doing jail time. Now, what these individuals will do is once they've connected with you on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, they will now ask you to move to another more private platform. It's what they call off-platforming. And so the reason they're doing that is they want to move you to a more private site. And some of the more common ones include things like Google Hangouts or maybe even Skype. Or they'll ask you to make it more private on places like Instagram and Snapchat. And the reason they're doing that is because they can't let anybody else see what's going to happen. They need privacy to commit this crime, right? They can't let any other parent, teacher, or adult see what's going to happen. And by moving them to these off platforms, it also allows them to covertly record everything they're going to do to their advantage. What I'm going to do is I'm actually now going to show you an actual sextortion case that we worked on. And so this happened to a 16-year-old young man that we worked with and his family. Now he said he was 16, but in his communications he said he was 21. You'll see what I mean here in a little bit. Now with his permission and the permission of his family, I'm now actually going to show you what it looks like. Now we have blurred out his name and any other kind of private identifiable information to keep him anonymous. But what I can tell you is what I'm about to share with you is that we have seen the same process happen in all the other 128 cases that we've involved in. It's basically they're singing from the same sheet of music. Because remember what I shared with you a little earlier, they're selling these e-whoring kits that actually have the full outline of what to say and how to hook people. And that's what it is that they're using. So this is important to understand for both you as the parent or the caregiver, as well as the teen, because here's how it usually happens. So again, once they meet you on a public site, they will then attempt to move you and off-platform you. So here's a really good example of a case that we worked on. So this was on Instagram, right? And this was created by what we believe to be an organized crime group out of Somalia. And they were targeting teen boys in the Kelowna area of British Columbia. It's an area here in our province here in Canada. So what they did was they screen scraped pictures of young girls that they found online to use as a target, and they created a fake name. They created these sock puppet accounts. So here's one that they created with the name Andrea Walker, but they also used the same picture to create another one called Alexandra Dawson. It's the same person, but they had multiple accounts with multiple names that they were using as the bait. And so once they've identified a teen, they will now send an unsolicited message to them. So let's have a look at what this looks like. So the person on the left is the capper. The person on the right who's blurred out is the 16-year-old teen who was targeted. So here we go. So they'll send the unsolicited message. Good example. Hey, how are you? Teen. Hi, I'm good. How about you? Capper. I'm good. Don't think we know each other, but if you don't mind, we learn to be friends? Teen. Yeah, for sure. Capper. Okay, nice to meet you. Where are you from? Teen. I was initially from Penticton, but live in Prince George. How about you? Capper. Okay, I live in West Kelowna, and I still go to university. And you? I'm in college too. Capper. Okay, cool. What do you like to do in your spare time? Teen. Hike, exercise, hang out with people, and do stuff. Capper. Okay, cool. I like gardening, sports, fitness, skiing. I like music and sex like everyone else. Excuse me for the questions. Tell me, do you like sex? Big red heart. Teen. Yeah, I do. How old are you? Capper. 19. And you? I'm 21. Remember, he's 16, right? Capper. Okay, what are you doing now? Capper. I just took my bath and I'm in bed after finishing my bath. I'm alone in my room and I'm bored, so I like that we give pleasure if you don't mind. Big red heart. Teen. Sure. Capper. I want to show you something, but I want to stay it between you and me. Teen. Yeah, sure. But I don't trust you much. Yes, I promise. Capper. Are you really sure this is going to stay between you and me? Because I never did this with anyone. I wanted to stay between you and me, okay? Big red heart, blush, smiling face. Teen. Yes, I promise. Capper. I want to show you my beautiful in a video call just for fun, but it stays between you and me, okay? Big red heart, big red heart. Yes, you can send me videos, baby. You want my Snap, i.e. his Snapchat? Capper. I don't like chatting on Snap, baby. Are you alone now? Teen. Yeah, LOL. Capper. Okay, baby. I'll call you now, big red heart. Baby beautiful. You really alone right now? Teen. Yes, LOL. Capper. Baby, sorry, write me on cam. I have a problem with my microphone. Now, the reason they say that is because they know that if they're not using morphing technology to disguise their voice, they'll know that they're not talking to a teenage female. So they'll often say that their microphone is broken. Then they further went on to say, you're very beautiful, baby. Baby, prove to me you're really alone now, and I will now. Teen. Okay, try unmuting yourself. Capper. Cam, and send my message to me. You see the proof? Capper. But why you don't show me your face on cam? Excite me, baby. See, these cappers want to get your face in the picture or video, because once they've done that, it makes it really hard for you if they want to sextort you to say, that's not me. Whereas if your face is in the video, they've got you. So they will work really hard to get your face in the video or in the picture. Teen. Show me this with your hands. So the teen is now becoming suspicious. So one of the things that he wants to make sure is that he is actually talking to a real person and not a recording. So he said, do this with your hands. Show me that sign, right? With your hands. Capper. Okay, baby, I want to see your nice to excite me, big red heart. Teen. Where are your hand gestures? So again, he's getting a little concerned that maybe this person isn't who they say they are. Maybe they're dealing with a recording as well. So he really wants them to show him this hand gesture to prove that it's a real person that he's chatting to, right? So again, he says, show me this. Capper. Excite me, baby. I'm very hot now. I want to see your beautiful for exciting me, big red heart, blushing happy face. Teen. Hand gesture first so I know you're real. I can't see it. Capper. How? Really? How? Show me this with your hand. So again, he's saying, show me this gesture. Let me know that it's a real person I'm talking. Like this is live and not a recording. Capper. Why are you behaving like a child, baby? Tell me, just gonna show me or not? Okay, I will. So the capper has now worn him down. So if the capper believes that they're going to be able to, they'll put the time and effort to break down the barrier, right? So finally the teen boy, remember 16, not 21, says, okay, I will. So capper, big red heart, teen, work me up. Rub your capper. Turn your cam now and show me, baby. Teen, suck your gingers, meaning her nipples, right? Capper. I want to see for exciting me. Teen. Finger yourself. Capper. LOL. You will do or not. Big red heart. There. So he finally does something sexually in front of his webcam. So the trap was set and now the trap is being sprung. I like your nice baby. Thank you. Capper. You want to see now, baby? Big red heart. Yes, please. Nice sucking. Capper. You must understand that I'm the only person able to remove this video from you. You must also know that I'm able to publish it. Then you know that everything depends upon you now. Listen to me very well. Do not push me to ruin your life. Then I want you to stay calm and that you answer all my questions. If you want me to remove your video, I can publish this video everywhere. So if you don't do what I want, I'm going to publish and you to listen to me, and you will know that you must do whatever it is that I want you to do, and then I will delete your video. Teen. No. So you can only imagine that this 16-year-old teen is now in full panic mode. He now knows that he has fallen victim to what the kids like to call catfishing or sextortion. Capper. So if you don't want to have problems with me now, you will stay calm and answer my questions correctly and do what I ask you to do just when your video to get it deleted, okay? So sir, right now, this video is on the YouTube channel, but in a private world. That is, it is you and I who know it is existence. So if you try and stand up to me, I'll throw your video link to your loved ones, friends and family, and your workplace. So you're going to stay calm and discuss the deletion of your video, answer all my questions because I'm doing this for a good cause. Teen. Yes, I will answer anything. Again, teen is in full panic mode. They now know that they have the recording of them and that they're now going to post it publicly if they don't do what it is that they want them to do. Capper. Like I told you, I want to just trust you and delete, but I can't because you haven't done anything to prove to me that you are a person of goodwill. I just want to have a confirmation that you are a person of goodwill. I just want you to pay $9,000 to a hospital located in West Africa. They need money to pay for blood bags to treat life and children who are dying of blood diseases, of orphan children, destitute children in West Africa. Now I'm listening to you. Know that this is the only way to get this deleted. Now, what we have found, $9,000, pretty high. On average, it's about $500 that they're asking for. What you just saw there is almost identical. It's like a blueprint for the other 128 teens that we've now helped. It basically follows the same script. So that is why it's important for teens to understand what that script looks like, because understand thy enemy and you'll win 1,000 battles, Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Now, the other thing that these cappers will do is to put the pressure on. Often, if it's on Instagram or if the teen has an Instagram account that's not properly privatized, they will screen capture all their friends and followers and then say to the teen, hey, listen, if you don't do what it is I want you to do, I'm going to send this message to all your friends on Instagram. And this is actually another case that we worked on where this in fact happened. Again, it's a part of what we call the pretext. It's the pressure campaign to get the team to pay up, to do what it is that they want them to do. And we've had, of the 129 cases that we've now dealt with, we've had 3 cases now where the capper actually sent the video to 1 or 2 people on their friends list on Instagram, again, as a part of the pretext, where they will say, hey, listen, I've now sent this to 1 or 2 of your friends on Instagram, and they'll send proof that they've done it. And then they'll say to them, if you don't do exactly what it is I want you to do for me now, i.e. pay the ransom, send me gift cards, send me more pictures or videos, I'm now going to send it to all your friends. Again, a part of that pretext to put the pressure on to get these teens and even adults to pay the money, the ransom that they're looking for. Now that we know the who, what, where, when, why, and how of sextortion, what do we do if we're targeted? How do we manage what has happened? Here's some of our thoughts. Number 1, it's important that we engage with teens to bring this to their attention and to say to them, listen, we don't want you to engage with people online sexually, with people who you've never met in the real world. Like, just don't do that. Now, although we can say that, the reality is they are still doing it, right? Especially the teen boys, because they believe that this will never happen to me. But if they do decide to do it, you don't want them to, and that should be the messaging. You don't want them to do. But it's also important that we message to them that if you do decide to do this, we don't want you to. Make sure your face is not in the picture or video. Remember, these guys will work hard to get their target's face in the video or the picture that you're going to send. Why? Because it makes it very hard for you to say that's not me. If they post it publicly, it makes it really hard for their intended survivor or victim to say that's not me, that's somebody else. So they'll work hard to get their face in the picture or in the video. The next thing we want you to do is immediately stop all communication. So once they've set the trap and you've now been caught and they now know and send a message to you that, listen, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. Stop all communications immediately. The longer you communicate with them, the more effort and time they're going to put into you to try and get that ransom from you. So stop all communications. And whatever you do, don't pay any ransom. If you pay the ransom, you're now labeled a whale. Now, some current research that came out of the Canadian Centre for Child Protection last year in 2022 found that 93% of teens who actually paid a ransom, the capper came back for more money. So don't pay any kind of ransom. If you do, you're labeled a whale and they'll just come back for more. So don't do it. It's not going to help. The next thing that we want you to do is to screen capture everything that has happened, all communications. Now, on Snapchat, it can be a little tricky for sure, because if you start screen capturing, the capper is going to know you're doing that. So if you have another device that you can take pictures of the Snapchat on the screen that you're being sextorted, that's what you want to do. But screen capture all communications, both pre-contact and during the contact of what has happened as a form of evidence. And remember, deactivate, but don't delete your account. The last thing we want you to do is deleting it. Here's the reason why. Because the next step that we want you to do is to notify the police. There are police departments across Canada and the United States that have officers that are specifically trained to do what are called account takeovers, where they will take over control of your account pretending to be you, hoping to track these individuals, especially if they believe they're in Canada and the United States. And law enforcement in Canada and the United States have had really good success in tracking these individuals using that technique. However, not all police departments or police agencies have that capability. And so we want you to notify the police. Now, here in Canada, police work very closely with the Canadian Centre for Child Protection and their cybertips.ca that they have. And cybertips.ca is using a project called Project Arachnid, which is a form of AI, which means if the teen still has the nude, the video, or the picture that they sent to the capper, if they still have it on their phone, once you give it to the police will send it to Project Arachnid, where Project Arachnid will hash it, basically digitally fingerprint it. So, and then the Project Arachnid, what it does, it goes onto the internet and it looks for that hashtag, that fingerprint. And if they find it, if it's being posted somewhere in the light web and they find it, they'll make application to nuke it to have it taken down, right? So it's a really good resource to use. However, I'll be very honest with you. If these cappers are from places like Southeast Asia, India, Somalia, Nigeria, Russia, the likelihood of police being able to do anything is extremely low. I'm just being very honest with you. Are there times where there's exceptions to that rule? Sure there are. But in most cases, the reality is if they have it, there's not a lot the police are going to be able to do if the person decides that they're going to post it. So we've had some families make decisions that they're not going to notify the police. And they have their reasons for doing that, and I respect those decisions. However, I do recommend that it's reported to the police so that at least they're capturing, if they can't do anything about it, at least they're capturing statistics that they need to get the resources that they need to deal with these issues internationally for sure. The next thing we want you to do is, after you notify the police, if the police aren't going to do an account takeover, they'll likely say to you, okay, just block and delete the account. Or if you decide not to contact the police, go ahead and block and delete the account. Again, have no further contact with them. Now, the next thing that we recommend is for the next 24 to 48 hours, make sure that you're not accepting any more friends or followers into any of your social media feeds. So a good example, let's say they connected with you on Instagram. So you've now blocked them and deleted them on Instagram. What they will do is they will create other sock puppet accounts to try and reconnect with you on Instagram or on some of your other social media sites, again, to reconnect with you to put the further pressure on. So say, you blocked me on this account? Not good enough. We have other accounts, right? So they'll put the pressure on. So for the next 24 to 48 hours, do not accept any more friends or followers into your social media accounts, and don't accept any phone calls from anybody who you don't recognize if in fact they get your cell phone number that they're going to use to connect with you, which has happened on several incidences that we've been involved in. Here's what I can share with you. Of the 129 cases that we've been involved in, we haven't had one case, not one, where the picture or the video was distributed to a wider audience. Yeah, we had a couple of incidences where the picture or video was sent to one or two people on their friends list on Instagram as a part of the pretext, but it went no further than that. Now, can I promise you that that's not going to happen? No, I can't, right? But what I can share with you is usually after 24 to 48 hours, if you follow all the protocol up to this point in time, these guys will just move on to their next target. Why? Because time is money to them, right? It really is. So if they believe that they're going to get the money or more pictures or videos from you, they'll put the time and effort to put the pressure on. But usually after 24 to 48 hours, if you followed all my recommendations in the vast majority of cases that we've been involved in fact, all of them, we haven't had one case, not one, where it was distributed to a wider audience. Again, could it happen? Sure it can. And has it happened? Yes, it has. The next thing we want you to do is we want you to set up Google Alerts. Now, in order to do that, you need a Gmail account. And what you do is you go into Google, type in Google Alerts. It'll take you to the Google Alerts page. And on the Google Alerts page, in the search block, I want you to put the name of the teen or your child into the search block in quotation marks. So a good example, in the Google Alerts box, search box, I would put quotation mark, Darren Lore, close quotation marks. So by doing that, what you're telling Google Alerts to do is every single day, Google, I want you to search the light web or what's known as the surface web. And if anybody posts anything and tags it with the name Darren Lore together on it, send me an alert. Because if this individual does decide to post this onto a light web, into a social media site, a lot of time, tag it with your name, a lot of times Google Alerts will pick up on that and you will be sent an alert. Now, one of the things that we say here is if you get an alert, don't panic, because there may be 50 other people around the world with your first and last name. Click on it, make sure it's you. And if it is you, and it is the video or the picture that you sent that they've now posted into the light web or the surface web, you now know where it's located and you can make application to that website to have it taken down. Because in most countries, it is still, if it's a picture of a person under the age of 18, it's still considered child sexual abuse material, and it will be taken down as a violation. Not only it's a crime, but it's also a violation of the terms of service. Also understand that most major social media platforms now are using pretty good artificial intelligence that if a picture or video is posted in a public venue, then the AI will pick up on it pretty quick and have it taken down. And not in all cases, but a lot of cases, that's what will happen. Another big one is don't hire any fee-for-service takedown companies. These are popping up everywhere. We have now helped several teens and their families where they have paid like $1,500 in increments of $300, $500, $500, and $500, believing that this company was going to help them take it down. I'm here to tell you that that is likely not going to happen. In fact, I find that these companies have become extremely predatory in nature. They're almost extorting young people themselves. Like the last one that we helped was a 17-year-old young boy and his family, and he said that when he contacted this one company, that pressure that this company put on him to say, hey, listen, if you don't pay us this money, it's $1,500, but we'll take it in installments, the first $500 up front, then you know what? It's going to destroy your heavy pressure tactics. And the reality is that these companies won't be able to help you. And then the last thing I say with teens is let your parents know, right? Because if these things do go public, I can pretty well guarantee that a parent or a caregiver is going to hear about it. And it's better that the teen lets the parent know than the parent finding out from somebody else, like law enforcement is a good example. One of the things that we've heard clearly from teens that we've dealt with is that they're really hesitant about connecting with their parents because they're afraid that their parents are going to overreact to the disclosure, right? And one of the ways that they'll do that is primarily by taking their phones away from them. And like it or not, phones in today's world is like a third appendage to our kids. Like that's how they connect with one another. It's like lopping off an arm. Now, I'm not saying that taking phones in some cases isn't a reasonable option to take. However, one of the things that I've done with a vast majority of the 129 teens that we've worked with is as they've connected with me, I've been able to convince them, hey, listen, I need to talk to your parents. Let me talk to your parents because I'll bring to them their attention about what's going on and how you're not the only teen, how this has happened and what will happen. And usually by doing that, I'm able to calm the parents down. In fact, one of the things I first say to after I talk to the parents is that I say to them, listen, disclosure is the first step in the recovery process. And you as a parent, you need to be supportive and not punitive with your child. And the reason is because if you overreact in this case, what do you think is going to happen the next time your child finds themselves in trouble? Do you think they're going to come and talk to you and let you know that something's happened? No. Why? Because they're going to be fearful that you're going to overreact. So one of the things that I always counsel parents on is that, hey, listen, after we're finished talking, I want you to take a couple of deep breaths and I want you to walk over to your child and give them a big hug and say, you know what? It's going to be okay. I'm going to help you get through with this, right? I'm going to help you work through this. We're going to do it together. That is the type of messaging that your child needs to hear in this time of crisis, right? Because trust me, your child is going to be in a high stress state, emotionally, psychologically, physically, and even socially over fear what's going to happen. In fact, we've had a couple of cases in Canada and the United States now where teens have taken their lives as a result of this. So being that supportive parent rather than a punitive parent in a time of crisis is extremely important to understand. So that is our management strategies if the teen finds himself or even an adult finds himself in a situation where they now are being sextorted. Now, the other thing that we can do is provide you with other resources. So a good example of Google alerts you to the fact that the picture has popped up on one of the more popular social media sites out there. We as a company have developed a free manual on how to get these things down, right? There are ways to get these things down quickly on all these major social media platforms. You just have to be shown how to do that. And we've provided a how-to guide on how to do that you can find on our website at www.thewhitehatter.ca. Just go to resources and type in take down pictures and you'll be able to find that manual. And there'll be a link here on this YouTube to help guide you there as well. Now, some other resources that you have as parents and caregivers include our free web book. We've got a web book for free that you can find on our website where we dedicate a whole chapter to this topic, where we get into it in a far deeper context, and it's free. It costs you nothing. It's actually 27 chapters. It's a how-to book for parents and caregivers on how to raise your kids in today's on-life world. And one of the chapters is specific to sextortion, but we have other important topics in that book, and I would encourage you to look at it. It's free. It costs you nothing. Another resource here in Canada is cybertips.ca. Again, that's where Project Arachnid is located. So you can actually, if you don't want to connect with the police department locally, you can connect directly with cybertips.ca to start an investigation going on there, and they will connect with you. And in the United States, you can connect with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and there is their website. Another great resource for teens and parents is our White Hatter app. It is free. It costs you nothing to download, and you can download it both onto an Android device or an Apple device. And it's just chock-a-block full of all kinds of resources on there. So a good example, there's one there for nudes, right? If nude safety, what's going on with your nudes, right? It kind of walks you through the process for teens. And it's right there in the palm of your hand. So we have everything on this app, everything from police department, emergency contacts in both Canada and the United States. Or let's say your child is experiencing suicidal thoughts or ideations. We have a link for that. They click on it. It'll take you to another page where there's resources that they can reach out to 24/7 to get them help. Because if mom and dad aren't around, or they don't want to talk to mom or dad and they don't know who to connect with in a time of crisis, this app is in the palm of their hand. It's kind of like digital first aid. You hope you never need it, but when you do, you're happy you have it. And not only are teens downloading this app, but we're getting a lot of parents, caregivers, teachers, and law enforcement downloading this app as well. Because again, it's just chock-a-block full of resources for teens and parents that you may not be aware of. Again, right in the palm of your hand. Another great resource is our YouTube channel. And for those of you that are watching right now, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, right? Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Every week, Brandon puts out a YouTube video, about a 15 to 20 minute video on topics that he believes are important from a privacy, security, and safety standpoint for parents, caregivers, and teens. And again, our YouTubes, they're all free. They cost you nothing. Another good resource for parents is our new a podcast that we have called Parenting in an Online World. Again, free podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify or Apple Pod Music, Google Pod Music. And it's free. It costs you nothing. I think we're up to 20 episodes now on a variety of different topics that we think are important for parents to hear about. We had a lot of parents connect with us and say, hey, listen, I'm more of an audio learner than I am a visual learner. And that's why we created the podcast. And another great resource is our Facebook page. It is free. It costs you nothing. It's kind of our landing page. We're almost up to 29,000 followers on our Facebook page, primarily parents, caregivers, law enforcement, educators. And almost every day, we're updating that page on issues that we believe that parents and caregivers, law enforcement, teachers, and teens need to know about on that free resource there. Also, if you're a school, a company, or a business looking for us to come in and do virtual events, live virtual events, in-person events, check out our website at www.thewhitehatter.ca, where we outline all our multi-award-winning programs that we can deliver, not just in person, but live virtually here through the virtual studio. These are all resources that you can reach out to connect with us, and we would be more than happy to present to your school, to your family groups on a variety of different topics. So check out all our programs on our website. There you have it. Sextortion is a clear and present threat. We now know that. So understanding the who, what, where, when, why, and how of it was important, and that's what this YouTube event was all about. But also talking about management tactics. If your child does become a victim of this, what do we now do as parents, caregivers, and even teens to help minimize risks associated with these pictures and videos going public? That's what this YouTube video event was all about. So on behalf of the entire White Hatter team, thank you for tuning into this event, and hopefully we'll see you again. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Bye, everybody.